Been doing this show more than 20 years. 7 Absolutes of Healthy Eating by Dino Nowak, brought to you by CBN.com. Figured I would break this down. They go on to talk about eating something so basic and fundamental. Wouldn't seem that it would need to be very complex. Yes, that is what it has become. They say there's no surprise with diet books coming out, topping the bestseller list every few months, often contradicting one another, that we find ourselves in our current state. 65% of all Americans battling the bulge and more confused than ever. Who do you listen to and who can you trust? Article, they talk about the walk-away steps you can take that are the 7 absolutes that will help you lay a solid foundation of healthy eating without having to ever second-guess yourself. So the first one is eating out. More and more Americans are doing on a daily basis. While diet books have sold millions of copies advocating the reduction or all-out elimination of fats and later carbs, they are overlooked one of the 2 true culprits that have led us to our current state. First was a shift from more labor-intensive jobs like farming and factory work to more sedentary tech-based jobs. Even our entertainment is more sedentary. Other is eating out. Backed by the restaurant industry's own numbers, in 1970, they were a $40 billion a year industry. Fast forward 30 years, and in 2000, they had grown more than tenfold to $440 billion, with serving sizes skyrocketing up to 5 times their original sizes. During these same 30 years, our waistlines had no choice but to follow suit, and they certainly did. On any given day in this country, 50-60% of all meals are eaten outside the home. To regain control, start shopping and preparing your own meals. You'll almost always be better off, and you will save money. You have to eat out, log it on your calendar, so you will be aware just how often it's happening. Learn your portion sizes and stick with them. For example, a serving of pasta is about what you can fit into the cup of your hand, not the gigantic plateful when you eat out. Literally 2 days worth of grains. People blame carbs when it was really the amount eaten. Pass on the calorie-dense bread and chips and request a house salad, not Caesar or broth-based soup. Be brought out right away instead. Share your entree or tell the waiter to box half of it up before bringing your meal out. The second thing is be label savvy. Many people never bother to look on the back of the package to see the food's nutritional content. It seems too complicated, and who could blame them? It's unfortunate because often right next to your favorite foods are the healthier versions that taste just as great. Chocolate chip cookies, I would try to restrain myself to eating just the 3 that made up one serving. So I found chocolate chip Teddy Grahams, where a serving is like 14 smaller pieces. This is more satisfying as it provides more hand to mouth and more crunching than my usual peltry 3 cookies, and is much lower in saturated fat and sugars. If I didn't read the label, I would have never been able to make that choice. So here are the 5 main things you should look for on a nutrition label. Serving sizes and calories per serving is the first one. Probably the biggest thing to look out for, because often manufacturers will break up what a serving is to make the label not look so outrageous. For example, you pick up one of the noodle packets every college student lives on. It says serving size 1/3 packet. No one opens up that single serving packaging, breaks off 1/3 dry noodles and puts the rest back. Plus, there is only 1 spice packet. They do this because the sodium content would read 2100 mg instead of the 700 mg you see on the label. The cutoff for sodium per day is 1,500 mg. This one packet contains more than your whole day's worth. Always look for the servings per container and multiply everything else by that number. Next one is saturated fat. Compare other brands and pick the one that's lowest, or better yet, doesn't contain the artery clogging fat. Sodium, daily limit is 1,500 mg. So keep this in mind when shopping. Fiber. Pick foods that contain fiber instead of others that do not. Men need 38 grams a day and women need 25 grams. Foods that are higher in fiber also hold off your hunger better. Choose breads that have at least 2 grams of fiber per serving. Then we have the vitamins and minerals. Read the label to see what vitamins and minerals you'll get out of eating this food and choose the one that does the most for you. And those are the 5 main things you'd have to look for on a nutrition label. Now, the third absolute you want to find for healthy eating is balanced eating. Make sure the low carb and no carb diets are finally coming off their high point of popularity. You still have to look around. Diets are nothing new and have been around since the 1800s. With all of them suffering a failure rate of 95-98% within 6 months. While balanced eating can mean different things to different people. The point is, we were given these macronutrients, proteins, carbs, fats, for a reason. No one food group should ever be vilified. What is most important has been said time and time again by every major health organization is the total amount of calories eaten. You can find it out if you go read what is called the final makeover for exact formulas. The universal law of energy taken in versus energy expanded to determining whether or not we gain fat, lose fat, or maintain balance. So don't fall for all the gimmicks. So the fourth absolute is eating every 3 hours. Now that you understand no food groups are off limits or are the sole reason for your struggle with fat, we come to how often we should eat. The best way to explain this is to think of a fireplace in your home. Each day you have a stack of wood you need to burn, otherwise it accumulates and carries over to the next day. When people skip breakfast, it's like you don't start that fire until 12 noon. You missed out on a lot of wood burning hours. Also, when you go more than 3 hours without having nourishment, your body's metabolism goes into conservation mode and slows down. Think of that fire burning out without any more wood for fuel. The goal is to keep your metabolism fired up all day, burning calories and providing you with energy to do your activities and concentrate. So people erroneously believe that if they don't eat, they will lose fat. Wrong. What happens is your body thinks you're in the jungle, starving, and will slow everything down to conserve. Often, if this continues, your body will cannibalize your lean muscle tissue to get the fuel your body, particularly your brain, needs. Muscle is a much more readily available fuel source than fat. Body will go to it first. So your scale drops, but you stay flabby. Metabolism drops even further. Finally, eat again, and the weight comes back with some friends. This frustrating cycle continues. You have to work with your body and fuel it instead of against it. Example, if you eat your breakfast, then 2 or 3 hours later, have a snack like yogurt or a piece of fruit. Continue on your day, letting no more than 3 hours go by without eating. Drinking on the pounds. The fluids you drink often mean the difference between gaining fat or losing it. People usually don't think about the calorie content of drinks. So here on the fifth absolute of what you'd want to do for healthy eating. People usually don't think about the calorie content of drinks. Again, that's troubling. It really is. So this is a big mistake because the calories quickly add up in the content of the drinks, especially from multiple drinks. Think about how many sodas someone might have in a day. Each can carries with it 140 calories. with the gold-sized canisters giving around 600 calories, or one half or one third of an average woman's entire day's calories. Same goes for coffee drinkers and the coffee drinks. At your favorite corner stop. On the low end, with non-fat, everything and no whipped cream, you're looking at 160 calories. Upwards to 500 calories on the dessert coffees, the iced coffees. Some people will have a few of those a day, hardly eat, and wonder why they cannot drop the fat. Doesn't mean your favorite coffee is off limits, but you need to choose wisely and factor them into your entire day. Being aware of what you're drinking is the first step. Now we get to the sixth absolute for healthy eating. And that is the water intake. Speaking of drinking now, you have a perfect alternative to high-calorie drinks. Save the calories and actually eat the food. If water seems too dull for you, there are some great zero-calorie flavored waters out now. So how much water do you need a day? Here's a quick way to find your personal number. Take your weight and divide it by 2. That's how many ounces you need to get a day. People have heard this for so long, they still overlook its importance. Maybe this will help put it in perspective. Your brain is 78% water. I repeat, your brain is 78% water. This was proven by many people like Mick Ilwain, and Bacallard, HS, biochemistry in the central nervous system, Edinburgh, Churchill, Livingstone, and their work in 1985. Blood is 84% water. Now your blood is 84% water. UC Berkeley, Wellness Foods, A to Z, Rebus Inc., New York, New York. Your muscles are 76% water. Even your bones are 22% water. So it makes more sense now why water is so important. Our bodies lose 64 to 96 ounces each and every day through the sweating, breathing, urinating, and even sneezing. When we are physically active, we need to replace even more. Yes, you can get it from other sources, even some of your foods. This is why thirst is sometimes miscued as hunger. But nothing is better and easier on your body than pure water. So now the seventh absolute for healthy eating. Healthy, not skinny, quote unquote. This is a subject that's close to my heart. And it should be. It's your heart, your body. For far too long, we've judged by the outward appearance. If someone was skinny, they were healthy and in good shape. If they were larger, they must be lazy or eat all the time. My favorite verse, 1 Samuel 16:7, speaks directly on this. The Lord doesn't see as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance. The Lord looks on the heart, quote unquote. You see, the outside doesn't always tell you the whole story. Can't tell you how many skinny models or actresses I've worked with that when we do a body fat test, they're in the 38% range, classifying them as, get this, obese. On the contrary, I have larger clients that are active and fit that are in the 28% range, which is normal. Yet if you judge by outward appearances, you would be completely wrong. Problem is, people fall prey to the lie that you have to look a certain way to be fit and healthy. They cannot attain the false standard, and they give up or never embark on the journey of health and wellness. So because we are believers and should know better about judging by outward appearances, our reasons for becoming active and fit should be to be set apart from the culture, not to chase after its unrealistic standards of beauty that don't exist. We're followers of Christ, followers of God, and this is an area where we need to lead and stop following. Be encouraged and take this journey one day at a time. Thank you for tuning into this show. Those are the 7 absolutes of healthy eating, brought to you by CBN Signing off.